My name is Melkie Anton. I'm from Eastern Britain. I currently work as a male advocate for women's human rights and gender equality, both in PNG and the Pacific region. I've been doing this work since 2004. I grew up without my dad. In fact, immediately after I was born, my dad had left mom with my elder brother and I. And then I was adopted. And so moving between my family that I grew up with and then in my own journey to find out things that had happened in my own life, it was not an easy one. I started struggling with that because I now was trying to work out whether there was somebody in my life I was missing. And because I was moving from schools to schools, and because I was getting involved with different groups of people, I ended up drinking alcohol, I smoked drug, and I also went partying. So I was very rebellious at that time. And all this searching caused a lot of stress on my own life as well, even to the point of me not knowing where I was going with my own education. And so while I was going through that experience, I also had moments where I just felt so lonely. I felt rejected. I felt like I was abandoned. And it was really much later on in my life, when I was old enough, at least, that I found the courage to ask my biological mom. And when I asked her if there is anything I need to know about for my own benefit, especially to do with my childhood, I started seeing tears coming down her face. And then at that moment I realized that there may be some things there that is too painful for her to share with me. That pain was so deep, and it also affected her in ways that may have caused extreme distress in her own life as well. But at the same time, I also found a woman who has found strength. That's when I realized that I can draw from that. And that was the motivation really I needed. That was the power I received. That was the transformation I got. And since that day until now, I have been very, very grateful because that conversation with my mom has now made me to be what I am today. That moment with my mom has completely shaped my focus in life, has completely transformed the way I look at people. I know that God had helped me to go through that situation so that I can learn some five key principles. One was to love everyone, regardless of where they come from, to respect everyone just as they are. 3, to be open-minded and be non-judgmental. 4, to care deeply for the people and their needs and concerns. And then 5, to listen and just listen to people's stories and their experiences. Those principles shaped completely my mind and changed my journey altogether to what I'm doing today as a male advocate for women's human rights and gender equality. It was also at that time that I learned about gender human rights, and I also learned about the law and the need to continue to respond and prevent gender-based violence. When I looked at that, and then over time through the work that I've done, I've realized that it's most women who suffer from violence, and most of them at the hands of their own partners and those that they trust their lives on. And that really troubled me very much, bringing back the experience of my mom. So I took that on and then began to work with and for women The women that I work with since then are all women in very influential positions who have come out of similar experiences in life and wanted a better society for everyone. And they have completely shaped my way of thinking, my working, and that has kept me focused on the work of eliminating all forms of violence and discrimination against women. And that's because of that influence of those women and my mother that I find myself sitting here today. I had challenges, especially from other men who come up to me and ask me or say things to me like, why are you doing a woman's work? This is not supposed to be a man's job. Are you a girly or a married man? When they say things to me like that, I remain calm. I remain patient. And then I use that opportunity to change it into something positive. Because this is the moment where I can now at least help shift men's mindset around women's human rights and gender equality. I basically bring them back to the table and say, if your mother was not here, would you be saying things like that today? If your mother did not give you birth to this world, would you say things like that to her? So I basically bring back that experience to their mother, highlighting the fact that it was because of their mother that they're sitting here today, or are born and alive today and are doing the things they do. And in many instances, they come with this perception of that the perception that is shaped by those privileges and entitlements that they have. And these come from the cultural norms that shape the way a man is brought up in society. So they grow up with their thinking that it's normal, it's right, it's acceptable, that these privileges are mine, and the woman does not have that. And so when you talk about men saying things like this, then I basically respond back to them and say, look, your privileges and entitlements are not here because you deserve them. It's here because of what your mother has provided for you, of what your sister has supported you with, and your wife has given you that opportunity to enjoy those privileges and entitlements. So it's just right for you as a man to acknowledge and value their contribution to your life and to your position right now, whatever that may be. And when you look at the old things around women's leadership, you find that women's leadership is the reason and the source of men's leadership. There is no men's leadership without women's leadership. And you find it in those kind of experiences like that. So that has helped these men to rethink what they have said and to start a journey of change that helps them to now start shifting their mindset and their attitudes and their behaviors towards more equality, towards more non-violence, and towards more respect for women, not only in society, but more importantly in their own homes, in their own lives. There's their mother, their wife, their sisters, and their daughters, of course. So I've seen that happening in all my work so far since I've done this work. I've seen it in Sepik, I've seen it in Buka, I've seen it in Southern Islands, I've seen it in Ella, I've seen it in Port Moresby, even in the Pacific region like Fiji, Vanuatu, Tonga, Tuvalu. I've seen men stepping up, stepping out, and challenging themselves and their mindset around what was not right and shifting that towards a more equitable and equality-based society. In fact, those changes that I've talked about with men coming out, stepping up and supporting gender equality and women's human rights has also strengthened my hope in the work we do to engage men and boys to support women in our society, women in leadership, women accessing their human rights, and women showing that they are valuable and important in society. These men have demonstrated that to me, and my hope is that many more men will come and support these men, and all of us can work together for a more equal society for everyone, men, women, and children.